Hello and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of X Vlog Live. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, and sorry for the lateness, if you will. I had a bit of technical difficulty. Somehow my headphones died 3 minutes before the show was supposed to go live, which sucks, which means I got to get new headphones. I'm hoping it's that simple because my Black Yeti X that I have is, I think I bought it this year. I hope it's not the port that went. I mean, it's under insurance, so it's not a problem. I wound up getting it replaced for nothing. But needless to say, folks, thank you so much for hanging out with Mav and myself, because obviously it's the day after Christmas. I hope that you had an amazing time with your friends and family, as you should. You ate well, you exchanged gifts, you made new memories, and that's what Christmas is all about, right? Well, listen, folks, to keep the gaming conversation going, we have two massive topics to get into. One of which kind of broke last week, but no one really got a chance to talk about it because everybody's, with the hustle and bustle. And that is the, uh, well, I guess it's confirmation that the PlayStation Call of Duty deal is done when this year goes out the way, which is great because if you saw the palette of Xbox Series X branded consoles with Black Ops on there. This is something that Mav, you've been critical of. I've been critical of. And a lot of people in the community are like, hey, man, where's the marketing on this game? You could have sold so many consoles during the Black Friday lead up to the start of December. They would have won NPDs. They would have sold a ton of consoles. They would have get new people into the ecosystem. What's going on? Well, it turns out that the deal officially did not end until I would imagine the strike of midnight when it turns 2025. And we're going to get into that because I think that is a really big deal for Xbox next year. And next year, Mav, they happen to have one of their biggest lineups of games ever in the platform's history. And of course, well, listen, CES is right around the corner. And we know that the newly announced vice president of Next Generation, Jason Ronald, is going to be there. The question is, well, what exactly will he be doing? Matt, first of all, brother, how was your Christmas with your beautiful family? And how the heck are you, man?
Doing good, man. Yesterday is one of those days always that it's kind of like Christmas morning. You have what, like a month of preparation for this
And it's gone
time.
in seconds.
Yeah, and then it's like bing bang boom, it's gone, and then it's like, what do I do the rest of the day? I'm exhausted, you know. Um, so that's kind of what yesterday was like. But yeah, it was a great day. And day before that, I hope everybody listening here had a great holiday. We got New Year's obviously still coming up, which is always a
Hmm.
fun time as well. But yeah, it's a great time for gaming. I loved watching all the videos of people and kids getting consoles for
Yeah. Yeah.
Christmas and stuff. I saw Black Viking had dual PCs for his twins, which was
Yep.
absolutely awesome as well. So yeah, there's lots of Christmas spirit in gaming with everything this season. So yeah, it's been absolutely awesome to see. But other than that, man, it's been good. Been playing Indiana Jones, been playing a little bit of everything, man. It's like there's so many games to play right now, and it's gonna like going into next year, we're not getting any breaks really.
No.
It's gonna be like floodgates all year long with releases. So trying to catch up on what I can before that happens.
Yeah, indeed. Again, listen, folks. One of the things that we have to look forward to next year is, well, I mean, listen, there's a lot. You got the Switch 2, that's right around the corner. I'm thinking that's going to be a March release. Personally, I think they line it up to celebrate the. I think it would be the eighth or ninth year of the Switch, right?
Mhm.
Like line it up for the anniversary. Release the Switch 2. Supposedly, they're going to have 3 to 4 first party games. Sony has, a couple of pokers in the fire, not many. Obviously, Ghost of Yotai looks phenomenal, and I think obviously we have Death Stranding 2 on the beach by Kojima and company. That's not an exclusive anymore. That is basically a multi-plat. But as you know, in regards to what Xbox is going to be doing, Mav, it look. the writing's on the wall. They're starting out the year on January 7th with the appearance at CES with Jason Ronald. And obviously, that is the Lenovo event, which is expected to have the creator of the Steam Deck there as well. And I'm going to say this, look, we're going to speculate on what he's doing there, but I think it's safe to say that he's not showing up there just to hang out and sit in the chair. He's there for a reason. He's presenting something. I personally think, and then we're going to open up the show with this particular story. I think he's going to be showing off the rumored Xbox OS. And I think why that's important now is if now I don't know, again, I think everyone will remember what I'm talking about. A couple of weeks ago, we had a couple of industry bigs in the form of Paris Lilly and Tom Warren. Now, Tom Warren had tweeted something that I think a lot of people either discounted or didn't put much thought into it. And he says that this is an Xbox is it's gonna make more sense soon. He didn't specifically say when soon, but he said soon. Interestingly enough, Paris Lilly, everyone knows who Paris is. Paris, phenomenal creator of his own YouTube channel, but also one half of of Gamertag Radio with Danny Pena. He's obviously a part of Kind of Funny in a big way. He is not only going to be there, from what we understand, in CES. He had followed a tweet regarding what Tom Warren had to say about basically saying, yeah, you're onto something. Now, I'm paraphrasing here. I don't have the tweet in front of me, but basically that's what he said. And look, I think the writing's on the wall. This is an Xbox. I thought from inception, Mav, was brilliant because the traditional console, yes, it has a place here. For people like me, I am the test subject. I am the poster boy, if you will, for I just want a console to plug in, put it under the TV, and go, right? Like, I'm not a PC head, and I will never be one. But there's a difference with what they're doing for next generation. Now, we're not going to get into, what 2026 is going to levy about this PC-like Xbox that is, something new, but something the same. We're not talking about that. What we're here to talk about is what they actually meant by this is an Xbox. And I think it's going to make a lot of sense at CES 2025. And if I am correct in saying so, and he shows off this OS that goes across multiple devices, meaning your tablets, your phones, your PC, your Steam Deck, your Lenovo, whatever you have that you can play a game. If they all work the same, meaning that they all have a boot up screen that looks and plays like an Xbox, this is going to tear down what traditional gaming looks like. I'm here to tell you, folks, I know that change is super scary, and a lot of us old heads like me, feel that certain games don't belong on a PlayStation, and I'll never bend the knee to it. But gaming as we know it, Mav, is changing. It's changing in a big way, and leading that charge is Xbox. And I think that CES 2025, with Jason Ronald being there, is going to be massive. What do you got for me, brother? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I've been trying to rack my brain about why the title change as well to coincide with the announce or the information that he was going to be there, right? VP of Next Generation, because like on LinkedIn and stuff, it still said his normal, title, but they were using that to say he was going to be making an appearance at CES, right? So, for this Lenovo event, they're supposedly announcing the Steam OS version as well, which will be the first handheld third party device manufactured as kind of like a Steam Deck option, right? So there's also going to have other versions of the same thing that are not Steam Deck versions, right? So that would mean potentially you could end up having, the Windows-based version that is going to be Xbox OS as well. So that's if there is like a formal announcement of something specifically, like this could end up being the first time we see that Xbox OS kind of operate on a handheld. Whether it's ready or not, they could maybe even show it as, hey, this is happening. We're working with Lenovo. We're working with third party companies to have Xbox console experience as close as possible to that on any device that you own, including this. And that's kind of what the future kind of holds in that space, right? This is what the other reports have come out about what the next generation consoles are going to be like, as well as hybrid PCs. Essentially, that's the same thing as a handheld device running an Xbox operating system, Windows-based Xbox front operating system there, because you want to boot into Xbox mode and then you want to be able to get out of that and do other things, right? That's the same thing that Steam did with the Steam Deck that's running on Linux. It boots up into Steam OS. You can get it out of that and you can do other things on it, right? You can install Game Pass on it. You can do whatever you want on a Steam Deck, but it takes workarounds, right? So they want to make it simpler for Xbox users and people to be able to access their games and to get access to
Correct.
their storefront. So if you have this third party device and you buy it and you boot it up, it's going to be an Xbox, right? Whether
Right.
it's a Lenovo, whether it's an Asus, or whether it's whatever, that's what they're going for. So that the core aspect of it, though, is they got to get the OS right. They got to have it working, right? So that's what I think they've all been working on. Now the other part of that is, the games,
Yep.
right? So the games have to work across all form factors. So that's going to be the interesting thing, because taking the console games into that space is going to be the next step, right? And I'm not talking about first party, because they already give dual entitlement between PC and first party. I'm talking about all the games that you may own in your library that they're giving dual entitlement to right now, which was something else they did on the Xbox app recently. I don't know if you caught this, Boom, but I was a couple weeks back. They actually did this massive update on the Xbox app on PC, and they added like 400 titles uh, to the Xbox app on PC that were just missing from the storefront on Xbox. And that added several games that previously didn't have dual entitlement before into the Xbox app on PC. So if you look at your Xbox app on PC, you may be surprised. Oh, there's some third party games there that I've bought before that are now showing up as downloadable native on my PC. So they also said there's way more to come that in that regard, and they're also adding more and more games to the cloud ownership feature as well. So all these things are coming together, right, to be the true Xbox everywhere thing. And then it's going to be backed by this operating system front forward facing Xbox thing that's going to be on all these different devices, including native devices made by Microsoft and Xbox in the future as well. So I hope we see a glimpse of what that OS looks like and the UI looks like, because I want it to look and feel as like an Xbox device, right? Whether it's on a Lenovo, whether it's on a whatever, I want to be able to think I can go buy that thing and boot it up and have an Xbox in front of my eyes, right? So that's what I'm hoping for, but we'll see. We'll see if they get there yet.
It's interesting because getting the console like experience across something like a tablet, like for instance, I know it's a small, subtle thought, but I think that if you are trying to get people to play on anything, you need to give them an experience that is one to rule them all, so to speak. Kind of like the One Ring, right? The Xbox boot screen and your dashboard, whatever it's going to be called, need to look and act the same that you get on console. Like when I go to my console right here and I turn it on, you get the Xbox load screen, goes right to your dashboard whatever picture you had there is there. All of your games that you've played are there, and all the abilities that you need to maneuver around using your controller are there. You go to the store, you can see what needs to be updated. You can scroll down to see what's in Game Pass, what's been added recently. If they are serious, and it appears they are very serious about this, Matt. Like this isn't a
Yeah.
joke, right? This isn't just a second thought or a Hail Mary. Hey, let's see if we can make some waves. This honestly is their future. They are trying to change the industry in a way that I personally think Nintendo and PlayStation are 5 to 7 years behind them. If they figure this out, and this OS is going to, because again, where else would you debut something like this? Well, it'd be CES. And it just so happens that this is CES 2025. We know that they are pushing the envelope and really trying to sell you on this is an Xbox, meaning that anything that has a screen, that has the ability to connect to the internet, is going to be somewhere where you, as a gamer, can play. And I think that, like for instance, you take a guy like me. I have I've had the Steam Deck. I have a ROG Ally. I don't use it because it doesn't act like an Xbox. And honestly, that's really the truth of the matter is it's too PC for me. I like the power. I don't mind having to update drivers and things of that nature. I don't like it. I'm going to be honest with you. I want to just go, turn it on, and I want the same experience that I can get on my console on whatever I'm using. Now, that is definitely going to happen, Mav, with the handheld that is rumored to be coming out. And again, I thought it was this year, and maybe it is. Maybe it still is. But at latest, it's going to be 2026. Me personally, like I've said before, I think that's too late to get into the game. I think they need to get into the game now, and save 2026 for your hybrid console that's going to merge PC with console, and it's going to once again change gaming forever. Meaning, giving you the open source. And again, you're a PC guy, so you understand exactly what I'm talking about. If they can merge the two, where it acts and plays like a console and does all its updating itself, but gives you the power of PC and the ability to play your Steam library and your Epic Game Store library, it's going to change the game, no pun intended. But I think you're onto something, and I just want to get your thoughts on this. Do you feel that there is an important aspect for having this one OS, this one UI, if you will, to act and be the same on all devices?
Yes. So right now, like if you go onto the PC, you get a slightly different experience. Right now, if you go onto like cloud gaming, you get a slightly different experience. And if you go onto the console, you get kind of like more or so the complete experience, right? So the issue with that is like familiarity, right? So you have your PC gamers, you have your console gamers, you have your cloud people that are willing to play on mobile in the cloud. Now they've made insanely good strides with the cloud gaming. Like I don't know if people are familiar or have been using it that much, but especially on the Edge browser, I don't know if it works the same on everything, but I use the Edge browser because it's Microsoft, so I thought maybe it'd work best there. I don't know. It's just my thinking. But anyway, if I use the Edge browser, I go to xbox.com / play. And man, the experience there feels like, okay, this is looking more like a native, like kind of Xbox dashboard in some ways. Like the way the game tiles are streamed across the screen, the ease it is to select things. It goes into full screen mode really simply and easily. You launch your game, it launches within seconds, and then it looks better than it ever did before, too. So I see the work that they've been doing on their apps. Also, they said that there's more news to come on the Xbox app in March, uh, which is GDC. So, there's more news coming there as well regarding the Xbox app. So this is all the groundwork, all the things that they're doing, all of the things that are being implemented with the game ownership via the cloud, with the games being added to the Xbox app on PC, with the updates on the Xbox app on the PC, with all these things. It's everything coming together to change and to morph into what we're going to see closer to next gen, right? Now, where we could see a glimpse of it though is on the third party devices first, because that's just software based, right? More so than anything. Like if you're launching the other companies are manufacturing those hardwares. So could you end up having something and using these other companies as kind of like the bridge to the gap to get you to the point where you need to be in a few years, right? And that's where they could be starting off with these devices like Lenovo and Asus and all these other kind of things. So I think it's important to have it all as one, to where it's like the same experience. You know, I want to be able to boot up my handheld device, whether it's Xbox created or if it's a third party company created, if it's running that operating system, right? I want to be able to boot it up and have the experience of, hey, here's all my games, right? Here's how you start a party. Here's how you invite people. This is just streamlined, exactly like it would be on a console. And that includes cloud too. Like the cloud needs to get closer to that, which they're making strides and improvement on. But once the cloud, the PC app, and the console experience kind of becomes the same, I think we all win, because in that regard, console gamers, who most of all of us are, right? I play on PC, but I still play primarily on console. So in the future, when we have our TVs around the house, if you want to buy a console, having access to other storefronts, because you can get out of the default Xbox mode, would allow you to take advantage of other deals from other companies, Steam, Epic, GOG, all those other kind of things. Import your library onto there. Do whatever you want. You could even maybe run Office apps or something. Whatever you feel like doing, right? On your TVs, right? And then you have access to all your games, which adds more value to the box, adds more value to your games as well. And that's the future I want to see. Whether they can realize it is going to be the interesting thing, just because of the putting all the Xbox games, the consoles, which they said is very important. They use the words forward compatibility. They use words game preservation. They're very, very, very adamant about that being the core aspect of what this is all about, right? That's the key, but that involves making sure all of our games move forward with this new vision, right? So that's the one thing they got to make sure they get right for sure.
Great points all around, brother. Great points all around. Look, I think that they are making strides to change the way we look and the way we look at gaming, but more importantly, the way we play gaming. And look, I'll be the first one to say, and I think you'll agree with me here, I don't really agree with the third party strategy. I understand it from a business point of view. I don't agree with it. But now it's really starting to make sense, because I think that depending on what crowd you listen to, right? Certain people in certain communities are going to tell you that console sales are all that matter. And sure, they're important. They're definitely a part of the ecosystem, but they're not the end all be all anymore. And they haven't been for quite some time. We know that PlayStation 5, for instance, has sold 65 million, and that's great. Congratulations, Sony. After Christmas, maybe it's 70 million. But what is making money for them is the software, is the microtransactions. And I think the way Xbox seems to be thinking, or being forward thinking, I should say, Mav, is that yes, certain games are going to go over. I don't think it's going to be all of them. I really don't. I know a lot of people will push back on that, and I hear you. If you believe that it's going to be the whole slate, I don't believe that. But the more places you get to play games as a customer, more likely, or more than likely, Mav, you're going to spend money. And if that's not on Xbox and that's on Steam or Epic or somewhere else, another digital store, you're still spending the money to play that game, on whatever device you choose. And this is where Xbox and Microsoft take gaming to the next level. Again, I really believe that they are leaps and bounds ahead of Nintendo, because Nintendo walks to their own beat of their drum, and that's fine. But if you're talking like the two really bigs, and I'm not discounting Nintendo at all, they are who we thought that they were. But if you're talking about Xbox versus Sony, they got Sony by 5 years. Sony is trailing behind, and I think that if they want to release a PlayStation 6, it cannot be a traditional PlayStation 6. It just cannot. And we'll see if they make any changes to that. But CES 2025 with Jason Ronald, Mav, is going to be very, very interesting. I'm very much looking forward to it.
GDC in March, as well.
And GDC in March, and that's the other thing. You made mention of that, and I know it's not really part of the conversation, but there are some rumors, Mav. There are some talking rumors throughout the community that could be where they actually unveil the handheld. And it does kind of make sense if you think about it, because Jason Ronald got promoted to vice president of Next Gen. All right, that's his new title. He's going to be here at CES 2025, which happens on January 7th through January 10th. Right from there, we are hearing that the third week into the new year, there's going to be a developers direct. That is the running conversation. That is the running rumor. Then, of course, in March, you have this next big tech event. I mean, damn, they have hit the ground running. Mind you, February, we got Avowed. And supposedly, and again, it's a rumor, that April may be south of midnight. I mean, if all of these things continue to just happen for Xbox, it is going to be one heck of a dynamite year. And two big tech shows coming up. We know for sure they're going to be there. We just don't know exactly what they're doing. And that, Mav, is the exciting part.
Yeah. And then we got Dev Direct coming up in January. So
yeah, third weekend. Yeah.
January you'll have Dev Direct, you'll have you'll have whatever the Jason Ronald CES thing is. Then we'll have February, you're gonna have Avowed, and then follow that. It's just release after release after release, because I think they're gonna not want to have more games in the later half as much as the first half. Or especially before October.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to take like the first 9 months of the year, I think is when the majority of their games are going to drop this year. So it'll be interesting to see. I think there'll be one bigger one for later. But they're going to hold off on announcing any release dates, I believe, for GTA 6. So right now they're planning on being before GTA 6. If GTA 6 ends up announcing its release date, then they might move some things around, right? But I think it's going to be a crazy busy year on Xbox. It's about the games, man. We're going to be playing a lot of games this year.
We are going to be playing a ton of games, and I'm here for it. I'm sure you are, and I'm sure there's 700 people here. Holy cow, that's crazy. First of all, welcome in, everybody. Now, of course, that's not all from YouTube. We do stream to Twitch, and I think we get like 2 viewers. So thank you, our Twitch viewers. That is pretty cool. But we get a lot of people watching live on X, or Twitter as it's called. And we definitely appreciate you, tuning in. This is the day after Christmas. We had no idea if we'd had anybody show up, but this is pretty cool to have nearly 700 people here, 697 to be exact, which is pretty awesome. Hey, Hargeet Chani, I see you in the chat there, fella. Welcome, and hopefully you had a good holiday as well. You know what? Let me. Oh, Paris Lily is here. Oh, let me see. You know what? I'm trying. There he is. He says, "I'm not a Debbie Downer. I'm being a realist." Brother, that's why we love you. That's why we love the work that you do, because you are real. You keep it real. Thanks so much for popping in. I mean, that's awesome. And again, it's funny because he usually says, when I hear my name, I just happen to be there, and he just shows up. Paris, and we love you, brother. Thanks for the work that you do. Let me just catch up on these super chats, and we'll get to the second topic of today's show. The first super chat comes the way of Sith Lord, generous friend of the program. He drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Choo choo, Mav, choo choo, MF." And of course, I can't repeat exactly what MF means, but you know what the MF
You
means.
can on our
And
channel.
yeah, and listen, this is why we love you guys, especially when Pong really, really lays into the MF. I love it. I love it. But thank you so much for the generosity. Music 72. What's going on, brother? He's been a channel member for 3 months. We super appreciate it. He says, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you, Music 72. Thank you so much for the generosity, but more importantly, being here. And of course, not to be outdone, as he's done just about every show, our generous friend all the way from Hawaii, aloha to Nino Vastak, who has once again gifted one Double Barrel Gaming membership. That is very kind of you. We super appreciate it. And of course, we're going to get into the next topic. Now, look, this may seem like not that big of a deal, and it really did, Mav, go over a lot of people's heads. Now, I saw some excitement in the in the community, because one of the things that we've all sat back on our seats and we were all puzzled by was the lack of tenacity in marketing for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Now, hold on, before you throw the virtual tomatoes, we know Activision spent a pretty penny, and they did it at the beginning of the year with the campaign where people actually thought that someone defaced the monuments, right? And it was just a commercial. But as we got closer to the release of the game, Activision went to town, and we seen it in subways, we saw it on buses, we saw it in Times Square, we saw it in everywhere you could possibly imagine. Call of Duty Black Ops showed up. But one of the things absent from most of this advertising were 2 points of contention, Mav. One, Xbox, most important because this is an Xbox it's an Xbox first party, not an exclusive, Xbox first party, and more importantly, Xbox Game Pass. Now, we don't have the specific numbers, but we know, thanks to Amy Hood and Satya Nadella, that that there was a lot of gains made. They were very happy with the monies that came in from the way of Black Ops 6, not just from Xbox, but from everywhere. Makes sense, right? But the thing I questioned is, why not have a Series S branded box for Black Friday for Black Ops 6? Like, it seemed to me like a no-brainer. And, listen, let's call a spade here. Their marketing has not been the greatest, and it hasn't been the greatest in a long time. So, of course, someone like me, and I'm always my glass is always half full rather than half empty, folks. I was like, yeah, this is just another rake that they stepped on. Well, it turns out that it's a little bit more than that. And I probably should have thought about this, but thanks to a stall on Twitter, he posted something very interesting. And again, I saw a lot of people talking about this. Jez Corden talked about it. Tom Warren, Tom Henderson actually did a story on his website. So this made the rounds, but not on a lot of podcasts. So I figured, you know what? It's the end of the year. No one talked about it. Let's have a conversation. Well, according to Astal, which is at ASTARANX on Twitter, he wrote, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Xbox bundles incoming. Because the Sony marketing deal contract with Call of Duty comes to an end this December 31st, 2024, according to Brad Smith, the president of Microsoft. So from January 2025, this Xbox Series X bundle with Call of Duty Black Ops 6 will be available worldwide. And he has the picture of actual Xbox Series X consoles decked out in from every side Black Ops marketing. I think this is going to sell a lot of consoles. Now, I know they're what are they going to sell? Who knows? Are console sales important? Not as much as they used to be, but Xbox could certainly sell a couple of consoles. And it makes sense that they've kind of, I don't want to say Xbox has cruised through Black Ops 6, because they've had some aggressive marketing for sure, but it wasn't boot on neck marketing like I would have done, right? Well, according to, again, he has a picture here of Brad Smith, and he says, and it quotes, "The deal ends 2024, according to Microsoft's president Brad Smith." So as of January 1st, 2025, any ties to Sony with Call of Duty are done outside of that 10-year deal. So they're going to get it on PlayStation 5, 6, and whatever else comes after that for those 10 years. But Mav, this is I think a much bigger deal than a lot of people are making it out to be, because let's just take a look at the facts here. 2025 for Xbox first party appears to be loaded. Like it's stacked. The deck is stacked. And on top of that, we're hearing that Oblivion remake, which was done supposedly redone in Unreal Engine 5, is going to make an appearance next year. That is the running rumor. So if that, even if it releases as a multi-plat, who cares? It's another game into Xbox Game Pass. On top of what could be Fable at the end of the year, you have the Outer Worlds releasing somewhere in the middle, I think. And of course, to open up the year, you have Avowed. On top of those games, you have Doom: The Dark Ages, you got South of Midnight, and I don't know. Oh, that's right, Call of Duty whatever. And the Call of Duty whatever is rumored to be a sequel to Black Ops 2. So keeping with the Black Ops conversation, if it's as good as 6 was, this is going to be the year of Xbox, regardless of whether things are multi-plat or not. And now having full control, meaning there is boot on neck, foot on gas for Xbox advertising for Call of Duty, they could logistically pull a Sony here, Mav. They could put that branding, the Xbox branding, on everything and anything that is Call of Duty. And listen, the same way the normies thought that Call of Duty was exclusive to PlayStation when they ran the gambit, could very well happen here. And on top of the year that they are about to have with their first party, you give full-on control of Call of Duty marketing back to Xbox like it did during the Xbox 360 era. You are onto something. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I mean, bundles definitely help. They haven't really done enough this generation in general
Mm-hmm.
of bundles, regardless of the game. They've had a couple things that they've done. They did like something for Halo Infinite, obviously, right? But Indiana Jones would have been cool to see something for that, or they could have had several different options for holiday bundles, theme boxes this holiday season, because they had a lot of different games that had come out this year. But yeah, I think overall, when you have the power of something like Call of Duty, you want to exploit it as much as possible, get it in front of people's eyes as much as possible. And whether that means custom controllers, which we've already seen that them do custom controller, right? Or it means custom Xboxes or bundle deals and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff just kind of greatly helps brand association more than anything. So if somebody is like at the store and you see the Call of Duty box, it's just a little bit more because I like Call of Duty. I like Call of Duty, so I like that. Same thing that PlayStation would do with the Spider-Man box and stuff like that, right? So overall, yeah, that stuff definitely helps. I'm not gonna think that it's going to change everything when it comes to Xbox console sales or anything like that because of the transition and the moves that they're doing otherwise. Because the future is looking very drastically different anyway, in a few years from now. But for the time being, for sure, it's definitely going to help. And any more people they can get to access Xbox as their console of choice is going to be somebody that's going to get more and more locked into their ecosystem, which is what they want. So the power of Call of Duty is strong. You already felt it when we booted up Call of Duty Black Ops 6 for the first time this year. It was like it's like it feels different. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is, but obviously it's an amazing game, but being associated somehow with the marketing they had going on all around there, it being in Game Pass day and date, All of these things, like it kind of felt like the old school days back in 360 era when a Call of Duty launch would happen. That's kind of how it felt when Call of Duty Black Ops 6 launch happened. So they can capture that excitement every year with a Call of Duty title with some kind of special bundle. I think it definitely helped move some units, especially around the holidays. But I want to see them go above and beyond that. I want to see them do more. I want to see them do more custom consoles, more like
Yes.
these
Yeah.
consoles were made for this. Like they're blank slates, man. They've only put out a couple of wraps. I thought the wraps were a great idea. Okay, if you're not going to do custom consoles, you're going to make it more affordable for everybody. You're going to have these wraps. That's a great idea too. Love it, but they've only had a couple of those. Like I want to see them do this for more of their franchises and their brands because they're awesome. Especially next year, right? Next year we got Doom. I want to see a custom Doom Xbox. Why not? Doom is super popular. Could you imagine how badass a Doom Xbox would look? And how many units that could actually move as well? I mean, you got lots of things. Fable, this next year as well. I want to see all of that stuff. They do it with controllers,
Yeah.
right? They do it with controllers. It's kind of their thing. Oh, we're gonna have this special limited time edition this controller. Do it on your consoles too. You'll be surprised at how many people might be willing and interested to buy those that are fans of these franchises and games. So anyway, I've said my piece with that. I was surprised this generation after seeing the design of the consoles that they didn't utilize it more because
Yeah.
it's literally like a canvas, man. Like use it, utilize the canvas.
You know what's interesting, Mav, is the way that the gaming market is now. Granted, yes, it's much different than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago for sure, right?
Mhm.
But you're onto something here because I think there is something that people could look forward to with custom consoles that I like to consider succession, right? Like if you take a very popular game, and let's say, for instance, it's Call of Duty, which Call of Duty is by far leaps and bounds one of the most popular games. Now, you can argue with me and say that it's Fortnite. You can say it's Apex Legends, or pick your favorite free to play game that's out there that people just flock to religiously. That's fine, but it's it's clear that Call of Duty's lore is still here. It's still relevant. I mean, just look at it's one of the best selling games of the year, and it came out in the last couple of months of the year. Like that's really saying something. And this really isn't a surprise. Now, granted, the wrap that came out was a bit pricey. I'm not going to front. That thing could probably be released for $30
Mhm.
and it would be well worth the money. It was, I think, 55 if I'm not mistaken. Which again, I bought it. No, I bought that. I bought both controllers. I don't have a problem spending the money. If I like something, I do it. But there is something to be said about custom consoles, especially a Series S that doesn't have a wrap of its own, right? Like again, I'm hoping, and it doesn't matter to me. Like I said, I know people are like, oh, I thought you didn't care about console sales. I actually don't care how much money Microsoft makes because it doesn't mean anything to me. I care as a consumer that the more money they make, the more that they're going to potentially invest into what? Xbox Game Pass. The more chances that Indiana Jones has a sequel. We know, I broke the story a couple days ago where Todd Howard and Disney signed a 3-game deal. And why do you think that they're signing a 3-game deal? It's because Indiana Jones was critically loved, and it's apparently selling. And it's selling even though you can get it for quote unquote free on Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Game Pass for PC. So that's actually saying something.
So,
And like
boom, the Todd Howard. Sorry to interrupt, but the Todd
that's
Howard
right.
thing. Where did you see? Where did that information come from?
It came from a specific a source that I can't name.
Oh, okay, okay. So they said
Yeah.
that they had signed a three-game deal,
Three
or
three
going
three
to.
game deal. No, that it's been signed. That I
Okay,
was given permission by the one. I don't have a lot of industry insiders. I have a few. This one is rock solid.
Okay, so
So
the
if they
reason I was asking this because we've been speculating a lot, right,
okay,
on our channel about specifically. Now, I want to go back in time though
okay,
to Bethesda and ZeniMax being acquired by Xbox and stuff, and
mhm,
then you know, we have Blade get announced, right, and we have Indiana Jones, right. So we've been speculating a lot with like, could they have signed a 3rd game, right? Could they have done a multi-game deal with Disney before they were even acquired, right? And that's where we're seeing Blade and we're seeing Indiana Jones and all this stuff, and it was part of kind of stuff that they had brought in, and we've been speculating that the 3rd game could be ZeniMax Online's game, right?
yeah.
Just a hypo just some speculation there, and if that's the case, maybe Star Wars. I don't know. Just throwing it
Yeah.
out there.
I mean, look, again, this before I broke the story, and I was given permission by my source to, in fact, break the story. It had come out by Daniel Richtman. Rickman. If you don't know who Daniel Rickman is, he is a movie mogul. He is an insider in film. He breaks all of the MCU stories, all of the DCEU stories, and he happened to break this one where he says, "Looks like we're getting more indie games." This was on December 22nd. And of course, after this broke, you had everyone talking about the trades. Variety was talking about it. You had the story that I just pulled. I got it here from comicbook.com. Everyone was talking about it. And a couple of days later, I woke up to 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to a DM, and I read it verbatim that basically break this story. Boom, here you go. Thumbs up. So I broke the story, and it turns out that Todd Howard and Lucasfilms have, in fact, signed a 3-game deal that includes DLC. So there's going to be more Indiana Jones coming, and that is super, super awesome. Um, but look, I mean, there is something to be said about what Xbox is doing, Mav. I
Mhm.
mean, it's it's an exciting time nonetheless. And if you again, I can't tell you how to get excited or what to get excited about, but if you are someone who is into handheld gaming, well, some big news is happening in the next couple of months. Obviously, in probably around a week and a half, was it 10 days from now, you have CES 2025. We know that Jason Ronald is going to be there in a big way. That is freaking awesome. And obviously, handheld news is potentially, and again, take this with a grain of salt, folks. Just my opinion, could be actually happening a lot sooner than I thought it was. Again, I really look, and I was wrong, and I had no problem getting out here in front and admitting I was wrong. I thought for sure that there was going to be some sort of an unveiling of this thing, or at least conversation at the Game Awards, because the Game Awards, there's a lot of eyes there. And I was wrong, and it's fine. I got no problem being wrong. But obviously, they're talking something. They're talking about something at CES 2025, which we all believe is going to be the OS for what this is an Xbox. Again, we've heard people talk about it, says it's going to make sense soon. Well, that's pretty damn soon. And then, of course, you talked about the March event happening. That could be definitely where they show off this handheld. And again, this is complete
Yeah.
speculation, Mav. What if they say, "Hey, this is the handheld, right? You can, this is an Xbox. The OS is everywhere. You can, if you have a Lenovo, play your Xbox there. If you already have a Steam Deck, don't worry, it's going to work. If you already have a ROG Ally, it's going to work, no problem. It's going to work on your tablet. But this holiday season, we have our own branded Xbox handheld,
Yeah.
and it comes out for the holiday. And again, if you match that up with the lineup that they're having, Mav, oh my goodness, the holiday is going to definitely be something special.
I think if they have some handhelds to show, it'd be like prototypes, like behind the scenes to
Yeah.
like devs and get thoughts and ideas and impressions on them and stuff like that. Some of those prototypes that Phil had talked about. I don't know if they would be ready to face something towards the public yet, but I overall the GDC as well. They mentioned specifically that it was going to be regarding the Xbox app.
Yeah.
So at GDC, we'll get Xbox app information, which is going to be adding more functionality I believe, for like dual entitlement and things like that, and kind of bridging the gap of maybe console games being playable on PC. There's been rumors about them making it to where you can even access other storefronts games via the application on PC somehow, some kind of like bridge or something to access your titles that way. So I don't know how that's going to work, but that's kind of what they were saying on some of the articles I had read about it. So it's gonna be interesting to see, man. But that would be another step closer again to that whole one experience thing that we've been talking about, right?
Yeah, it absolutely would be. And circling back around to where we started, and that is, of course, Xbox retaining full-on marketing rights for Call of Duty as of January 1st, 2025. This leads into potentially their marketing strategy for end of year. Now, again, this is all speculation, folks. So take it with a grain of salt. It's just opinions, and they're probably wrong. But walk with me on this, Mav and chat. Now, again, Jason Ronald at a specific event showing off something, right? We all think it's going to be the OS for this is an Xbox. It makes perfect sense. And based on some of the conversations that we've heard publicly, it's all going to make sense soon. Well, that's really soon. But then again, the March event that could show off the Xbox app, well, it could show off a little bit more than that. Could show off the Xbox app working on a handheld. Could it be their own handheld? Could it be someone else's handheld? Well, we will certainly see in March. But if it turns out, Mav, that they do have their own branded hardware releasing later this year, and again, speculation, folks, could you imagine the push that would be behind this behemoth if they owned, and they do, full on marketing rights, which could potentially be a sequel to Black Ops 2, one of the most favorite of the series outside of now 6. Think about that for a second. They make everything in Xbox in the beginning of the year. They have their dev direct. You got Avowed, you got South of Midnight, you have Doom, you have Call of Duty, you have Fable, you have the Outer Worlds 2, you have Oblivion possibly releasing, being done in Unreal Engine 5. And at the end of the year, again, this is all speculation, folks, you add a handheld that could be branded a Call of Duty handheld. Mav, it would be a bloodbath for anyone that's not an Xbox. I honestly think if what I'm saying comes to fruition in any shape or form, Sony's in a pickle. I will say that right now. And that's not console warring. I said just read the tea leaves with me. They got one first party game coming out, and that's probably about it. Outside of MLB The Show, which is a multi-plat, and the couple exclusives they're going to have, one of which is, I think, is a pretty big one, and that's Kojima's game. Matt, again, I'm not sounding the alarms like Sony's going out of business, but if what I'm saying comes to fruition at any point, Sony is going to have to answer some questions to their fan base. And any thoughts on that before we get on out of here?
Yeah, I mean, I still think personally, just because of Phil's comments, that the Xbox actual device would be
Uh-huh.
a few years away. So I'm looking more so like 2027 probably for the actual native handheld for them to
Oh,
release. It's just based on his comments, right? But uh, if we focus on the third party aspect to it, right, you could have the same effect because you're talking about a market that's already substantially growing. Okay,
yep.
Steam has already made a huge splash here. They're even trying to go above and beyond, and they're doing the same thing, allowing other third party companies to put their OS on their devices. Why? Because Steam wants to be as many places as possible, right? It just makes sense. So that's one of the things that Lenovo is going to show supposedly is a Steam Lenovo uh, handheld, right? So that is going to be in the next couple years where we see this morphing of these devices becoming Xbox devices, right? Now you can still, if you go and buy a Lenovo, Asus, or whatever, and launch it, and it's an Xbox, and you get kind of this native Xbox experience, and you can play all your games and all this other kind of stuff. That's what I want to see happen, and you can still have the same effect if they do marketing deal with any of these companies, even if they don't have their own device out yet. They can still have like a Call of Duty this from that company that they allow them to have a special edition of, or this or that, right? So you could see any of that in the next couple of years. And it's going to be interesting to see the handheld market continue to grow. Switch 2 is going to be huge. So you, and then a few years away as well, you'll have PlayStation trying to get back in the game. So you're going to end up having Switch 2, you're going to end up having the PlayStation, but by that time, what you will already have in the market is all these other companies making Xbox handheld devices. So then Xbox, they already have everything working, everything's going great. People are buying their games on all these different devices. You know, we got everything polished for a pure native experience. We got everything finally after years of working and merging the storefronts, getting our games over, getting all the infrastructure right, doing all this stuff. Now here's our native experience that's going to be the best thing possible and what everything is going to be based on in the future of next generation, right? That's what I see in my head kind of going forward here as they're kind of bridging this gap and moving along. But they're making a lot of strides already with all of this, and it's going to become like Tom Warren, like in Paris, hip hop gamer, all these people say we're going to find out sooner than later something that's really exciting with Xbox, and something that makes sense more of how this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox. I think that happens at CDS and GDC, and we find more things of reasons to be excited about these changes that they've been making, as opposed to feeling like they're taking things away from the console user. Right now, you can say, well, actually, this makes sense because I'm getting more value for everything that I buy and subscribe to in the Xbox ecosystem because I have more access. They're preserving my games. They're making sure these games are going to be compatible on any device I own in the future. This is things we should be asking every game platform holder to do, not criticizing them for doing, right? So I'm all for the future of that. I want to see them continue. If that means I'm have to put some games on PlayStation, that's fine. I personally don't care. I don't care what they're playing. I care what I get to play.
Yep.
And if all of this funds this whole universe of access that I'm going to have going forward, I know that in 15 years I can still play a game that I buy today
Yeah.
on a device natively or in the cloud and all that kind of stuff. That's the security I want in this digital world of gaming that we're in, right? So keep it going,
I
Xbox.
absolutely. I think you're onto something. Look, at the end of the day, gaming is changing. We may not like it. We may not agree with some of the changes that are coming, but it is going to make big changes. And if we're not willing to, move with the change, Mav, we're going to all be left behind in some way or another. Again,
Yeah,
I still have my personal feelings on, the Trinity for Xbox, meaning Gears, Halo, and Forza, going anywhere but PC. But then again, I don't run Xbox. I think that there are certain games that just don't make sense to me, but I'm also not a businessman. And I get it. I totally get it. Like, for instance, Killer Instinct 2 is rumored to be showed off in June next year. That's the rumor that's been floating around. Is that going to happen? I hope it does. I'm a KI, freak. But that game is probably releasing on every console that's available day one. Switch 2, PlayStation 5, Steam, and Xbox. Why? Well, because Street Fighter 6, which is by far probably the best in the series, at least for a decade or more, sold 3 million copies across Steam, PlayStation 5, and Xbox. Is that enough? Well, I mean, according to Capcom, sure, but I don't think that fighting games can live if they don't have a wider audience, which is why you saw a lot of the SNK stuff that used to stay on Steam and PlayStation now get over to Xbox. It's just the business. But look, at the end of the day, folks, this was a great show. We started a little bit late thanks to the technical difficulty, and apologies if I sound loud because I can't hear myself. It's not coming through my headset, which is just a real pain in the ass, to be honest with you. But I hope that you enjoyed the show. I've already ordered new headphones. Hopefully they get here tomorrow. It's Amazon and whatever. We'll see what happens. But I want to thank Matt for taking the time to hang out with me for an hour. Again, these shows are relatively 65, 70 minutes with outros. And listen, just enjoy it. Or if you're on vacation, enjoy it. Enjoy your time with your friends, your families. Play some freaking games. And thank you so much for tuning in. We certainly appreciate it. We are rolling towards 7 million views in 7 years. We're about, I think we're about maybe 6,000 views away or something like that. So we're gonna hit it soon. Maybe by the end of the year, but we definitely will see. Obviously, if you didn't know, there will be a Breakfast with Boom tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with myself, Korkenstein, and Fuzzy Belvedere. I'm working on that show as we speak. Got some stuff that has not had a conversation about. And then as we roll into the following week, there'll be no primetime gaming on Wednesday. That's New Year's Eve. There will not be a show for Thursday because that's New Year's Day. But there will be, of course, a show for Friday morning, and we'll do probably 2 shows next week, Monday and Tuesday. You'll get the Xbox Factor podcast on Tuesday. You'll get the Xbox Lunch Break special on Monday, and we'll close out the year with those. But hey, Mav, thank you so much for being a part of today's show. Brother, sell the brand. Where could people tune into your plethora of podcasts that you do each and every week? And where could people help grow the channel? You're rolling towards 5K. We got to get you there one way or another. If you're not subscribed, folks, please, for the love of the gaming god, subscribe to this man. And, he does the work. He puts the work in. It's honest. It's fun. He has great shows, great panel. He's very family-oriented. And you should want that in your gaming life. Definitely subscribe to Mav. And more importantly, where can they follow you on the socials, Mav?
Yeah, man. If you want to find out what we got going on, just go check out Fun Speculation on Twitter or Blue Sky or whatever, and you'll be able to find out when we go live. If you go check out the channel, you see we have 3 podcasts. Mondays is Fun Speculation podcast at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Thursdays is PM in the PM with Pong Soul and I at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Fridays is Xbox Ultimate podcast at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Although we are still on break until Thursday of next week.
Okay, nice.
We'll be back on the 2nd for PM in the PM next week. Although in the meantime, you still may see me go live for something happens, right? Or something I want to get off my chest, or something I want to talk about. A solo stream. I did one the other day. Is talking about the future console and Xbox hardware, right? And maybe some game streams coming up as well. So just stay tuned, and you'll find out when I'm going to go live for those things, because those aren't usually planned. But appreciate everybody being here. Boom is a legend. Boom is one of the goats in the community. I appreciate everybody who supports them and shows up for this New York Santa Claus, who had one of the he does this amazing giveaway every year. I caught that show that you're watching the other day, and it was absolutely
thank you, sir. Appreciate
awesome.
it. And we got all 14 winners, which is great.
Yeah.
Again, we got the last one, Ray Oid. I know you're in the chat, brother. If I didn't say hello to Ray Oid, he was the last winner. We got him his $100 gift card on Christmas. On Christmas Eve, as a matter of fact. So that was pretty cool. So everyone that has won has been levied their prizes. And again, it's just, I say it all the time, and I'm not being facetious or fake humble. We get a chance to do this through the generosity of the community. And we do truly, truly love giving back, which is what we did. And you know what? It's everyone that won had a great story to tell, and we're very thankful. for everyone that tuned in that particular day. But before we get out of here, we have 2 super chats that popped in here. Will Broke Boy Lewis, who didn't have any of his points stolen today, hopefully will. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. He says all big Xbox releases should have a wrap/controller. Brother, I hope someone from Microsoft is listening, because that should be standard fare. If you don't want to give me a custom console because it's too expensive to manufacture, fine. Give me a custom controller and wrap for each of the big games. There should be one for South of Midnight. There should be one for Avowed. There should be one for Doom and Call of Duty, and just keep going down the line. You should have one for your fans. I would imagine that they probably cost Microsoft around $3 to make one of those wraps, and they're charging $55 for it. So listen, you guys are in gals over at Microsoft corporate making your money, and listen, they don't even have for the custom controllers. Put it into to Design Labs. Let us figure it out. You don't even have to package the goddamn thing. All you gotta do is just put it in there. Say, hey, there's a new controller that's inspired by Avowed, and slap Avowed on it, and people will buy it. Again, it's one of those marketing things that really scratch your head with who's running the show. And folks, listen, I know I'm long in the tooth, but Microsoft, you know where my LinkedIn is. Give me an email, and I'll make some money for the corporation. Highlander 001, when he's not driving his tank around the neighborhood, he's here hanging out in the chat, and he drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, hope everyone had a great holiday. I spent part of Christmas making a 12-year-old boy fighting cancer ride on my tank. Wow, brother. On my brother's land, and my cousin flew him in his Yui. He had a blast. Bro, that is legendary stuff right there. Congratulations for being a hero to this poor 12-year-old that's fighting cancer, which every time you hear that just breaks your heart. Bro, you are a superhero, and so is your family. So thank you so much for sharing that. And of course, thank you for the generosity for Mav, for myself, and of course, for everyone here. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love you all. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the new episode of Breakfast with Boom. Have a lot of great topics that we have not discussed before to break down. And of course, a big thank you to all of the super chats that continue to come in that allow for us to do the big giveaways, which we did last Friday. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the X Vlog Live.